July 9th, 2023. You're listening to Oblast with Don and Kevin, and I am Kevin.
I'm Don.
And we're back. I think we didn't do a show last week. We didn't post a show last week. It's summertime, and we're out having fun. We're like, no show. No, I've been really busy lately. I took on some school, and I already have 2 full-time jobs, and some days I'm just can't get it all together. Just can't do it. So bear with me, everybody. I'm working on it. I'll probably do some one-off shows to do some padding. Donnie will probably give us a Donnie diary at some point too.
He will.
So we can pad,
one of these years
pad the shows a little bit for you guys when we have these days off, so you're not sitting there with nothing to listen to. But it's not, it's not intentional. Anyway, start off with the usual. Donnie, how are you doing? How was your week?
Oh man, what a week! What a busy week. I saw you twice.
I know, right? That's unusual.
Yeah, very weird.
We only see each other like twice a year usually. So
yeah, we give it like a third. There's like always a third honorary like meetup somewhere.
Yeah,
There's like some kind of strange,
right? Some show. I gotta hand you something. Yeah. This time you handed me something. So that was.
I did.
That was the opposite.
Yeah. No, it's nothing new. Nothing going on. It's the same old bullshit. Just work.
Yeah.
And and the only difference is I went out twice this week. So.
Right. So so what we did was we have this friend or acquaintance, maybe you want to call it. Yeah. That used to hang out with all of us back in the day. When I say back in the day, it was kind of like, I don't know, basically post high school, right? Like just after high school, people were kind of hanging out and partying in their, late teens, early 20s. And this girl, she hung out with the group of us, and people used to party at her house, basically. And her mom was like a psychic or something, like a real one, like one of those ones you would go to, and she would like read your tarot or something. And you'd pay them money. I never actually went to her house ever. Everybody used to go there, I guess, but I did not. I also never went to Gary's. I know everybody used to go over to Gary's all the time too in that time period. Never did that. Never went over there. I think maybe once I was in his backyard. But then I see Adam's backyard in my head, and I'm thinking, was I at Adam's backyard or was it? But I think it was Gary's, but I didn't go inside. Anyway, she was supposed to come up she lives in Virginia, and we were I think it's Virginia anyway, or it's like Maryland or something. And she, because we lost contact with her. We hadn't talked to her in about, I don't know, 25 years or something.
Yeah, something like that, probably.
Yeah, and she was in the Air Force and works in the Pentagon, which is just weird. Any of us working in the Pentagon, right. That's just bizarre. So anyway, she was going to come up, but so our one friend of ours reached out to everybody and was like, "Hey, she's coming up. You guys want to meet up at a bar? We're going to, hang out. She's going to bring photo albums and stuff." And we were all just kind of like, if there's nothing else going on,
right?
Like it's like, yeah, I mean, we could see her, but it's like, it's been 25 years and, like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
I haven't seen her anyways. So what's the big deal?
Yeah. Right. So, but she couldn't make it. So then our friend Dan was just like, "Well, who wants to all come out and party anyway? We're all gonna drink." And at like 2:00 in the afternoon or 1:00 in the afternoon on a Sunday or something. Yeah. And we all have no lives, so we all were just like, "I'll show up, say hey to everybody," that kind of thing. And it's funny because like. My brother, sent me a message and he was like, "Are you going to that thing?" And I was like, I'm going to go because I don't really see Anderson very often.
Yeah.
So I'll go to see that.
That was, yeah.
And, that's kind of my primary motivation. I mean, it's cool to see the Roms, who I don't see. I mean, you see them a little bit more than I do. I don't see them, right. Kevin and all that sort of stuff. But, it basically, if it was just like Dan and Mole and Blackie and, I wouldn't have went. to be honest with you.
Right.
I mean, because they hang out all the time anyways. Like, I could meet up with them any old time. So it was just, but you were saying you were going. I was like, all right, I'll go. You're going. That kind of thing. Anyway, it wasn't a terrible, just talked to people for about a couple hours maybe. And then just, had a few drinks and then went out in the parking lot. Donnie had me a big bag of drugs. No, he,
oh, no.
No. Yeah, I went out there and now I think you gave me the record. Was that at the bar?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Donnie had my Sabotage record that I wanted him to listen to, which was like their demos and stuff from before they actually had a nice deal. It's not good. It's not good. It's not a good album. Avatar or whatever. It's not. But it's interesting to like if you're ever been like into the band or a fan of the band, it was just kind of interesting to hear where it all started from. It's kind of an interesting sound. You could just kind of get what they were doing. So 2 days later or whatever it was, we had to go to or was that more than 2 days? It was like 5 days later or something. We had to go to our friend's
Sunday to Friday.
Yeah, Sunday to Friday. We had to go to our friend's birthday party, which was kind of weird because this one was at a wine bar, right? So our friend that we grew up with Kevin is his name. He would be fine, like going to the diviest dive bar you could imagine. He would just be like, yeah, dude, let's go. He'd crack open a Milwaukee's Best and just be like, he'd be fine. You know what I mean? He'd be like, let's talk, he'd be talking and everything, and he'd be happy. But his wife, she's all into drinking wine and stuff, right? So she's all like, hey, I got this friend. He owns this place. We're going to have it here, and I'm going to bring a bunch of wine. I'm going to order a bunch of appetizers. Now, the dilemma here, I think for most of us, was how are we supposed to dress for this thing? That's kind of what we were thinking, because on the one hand, you got this dude and a bunch of us all going, and we're all just a bunch of, we're a bunch of punks. All right. We're too old to be, but some of us still are. And, but then on the other hand, it's a wine bar. So you know what I mean? And he confused my brother even. He was like, what are you wearing? And I was like, I'm just going to wear jeans and like a button down, dude. Cause I just don't know, And I think my girlfriend was a little overdressed, or underdressed. No, she's a little overdressed. But it was like that her like situation was also one of those things. Like she kind of showed me the dress she was going to wear. And, I was thinking to myself, like, now see, I could tell her not to wear it. Right. And just to wear like casual clothes. But if she came in casual clothes and all the other girls that were there, other than like say Anita or something, were like in dresses, you know what I mean? Then she'd be pissed off at me, for saying that. So I was just like, I'm just going to let her go with this. You know what I mean? Because I didn't know what to expect. So, and anyway, she was fine. She had a good time and everything. But I just think, well, maybe we were a little overdressed. But we went and it was fine. Basically, I saw my brother, who I also don't see very often. Maybe a little bit more than I see Don, but not much. And kind of talked to him and Joe. And Packard sat on my right and briefly talked to him and talked to Kevin, and you know what I mean, and just sort of talked to people, and then just left, because my girlfriend's got kids, she's got a babysitter, a couple hours and stuff. You got to take her back home, and then that's it. So that was that was it. Good, yeah.
What happened when you left? When you got to your car, what happened then?
Yeah, so that was funny. Is that as soon as I was about to leave, that's when Anderson rolled up. He was like, "Hey, he's here," and which was good because I had to give him a photo album, which I ended up actually giving to Tom, the other guy that was in a band. It was just a bunch of pictures that they had.
Dumb pictures of us.
The dumb pictures, yeah. Not dumb as in funny, just dumb as in dumb. Just like
what were we doing?
Standing in front of a house or something.
I think that was Adam's house.
Yeah, I think the idea might have been that we were going to build a website for the band. This is so long ago.
Oh, right.
And this was some stock photos we might use for the. but it never came together. I mean, George kind of disappeared. I think back then George was dealing with some kind of thing where he owned a business with some other dude, and they used to go to, like, if you owned like a bar or something and you wanted all that stuff on the walls around the bar, you know, like signs and wagons and bicycles, you know, all that garbage you see hanging up on the walls, whatever kind of bar you is, they would do that. And I guess his partner flaked out on him and left him kind of in the lurch. And so I think George was very distracted by that and irritated, I think, in a way, and didn't really want to do much of anything at that point. So that's how my memory goes on it. So I ended up with this photo album for over a decade, and just ran across it recently when I was doing some house cleaning, and I was like, I got to give this to one of you guys because I don't care. You know?
Right.
Not me in the photos, don't care. And I don't see George anymore. Like, nobody does really. And so if anybody's going to run into him, Tom, and he has the photo album. So there you go, you know?
Yeah. But that's because I went in there and I sat down next to Packard and I was just like, let me see this photo album. And he gives it to me and I start flipping through it and I'm like, okay. And I'm like, it's not like I'm flipping a page and sitting there and studying each picture. I'm just like, flip, look, you know, because it was like a lot of multiple shots of like kind of the same position. You know what I mean? It's like, here's us standing in front of the house and Adam's over here, but now he's over there or something. You know what I mean? It's just different positioning and stuff. So it's just like, I'm flipping through it. And then, it's like, it's pictures I've already have most of these. So I was just looking through it. I went through the whole book, flipped it, and Tom goes, so what do you think? I said, here, man, you can have it. And I just handed it to him. I was like, it's all yours. I was like, I'm good. He's like, you don't want it? And I go, no, I got most of these pictures already. He goes, you do? And I go, yeah. He goes, well, how do you have them? I go, I have no idea. All I know is I have them. You know, like, I don't remember none of this. So,
Tom's probably irritated that he has to hold on to it now. He has to find a place for it.
I'm not saying people were excited to see me when I showed up there, but everybody came out. You came out. You were leaving.
Yeah, I was.
Your brother came out. Your brother came out. He was leaving.
Yes.
And I made him hug me. It was amazing. Because he's standing there and he like hugged, like Anita and Packard are standing there. So like he shakes Packard's hand and he hugs Anita and he turns to me and I go, I'm hugging you. And I just grabbed him. He's like, okay. And he grabbed me and I go, I whispered in his ear. I go, this feels so good.
That's great.
And then he was like, I gotta go. And I was like, you're driving back to East Lake, aren't you? He's like, yeah. I was like, all right, cool, get out of here. And then Joe leaves.
Yeah, Joe said he's leaving too. Yeah,
they
all followed me out. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, every time I see Joe, he's always asking me about my car. Like if I'm in my car, he's always like, hey, what kind of car is that? What kind of year is that? Like, I mean, you probably if you remember. He even walked up and said that. He goes, what year is that?
Yeah.
What year is that? 2013? And I'm just like, I go, dude, it's like, why? I don't know why he asked me car questions. Like he thinks I know cars and stuff. So he's always does that. So like I went and I was talking to your brother and Anita and Packard and Joe came pulling out and he came pulling up behind us and I stopped. I go, hey, hold up. And he stops. He's like, what's up? And I leaned in his window. I go, what year is this car, man? What kind of car is this? You get good mileage? What are the seats like? And he thought I was being serious. He just like went into it. He's like, oh, I just got this. It's a rental. It's not mine, my car. And then he started going into some sob story. And I was just like, I didn't want to get the sob story. I was just trying to be funny. But like, you know, he's out there like, oh no, I did this and this and this. And I did that. You know, I was just like, yeah, get out of here. I'm done with you. So dude, it was a good time for the most part. I sat there and
did Urban ever show up to that thing?
Yeah, he was there. He was there when I got there.
Oh, okay. All right, he might have been there when I was there too, but I don't know him. So, like I'm like one of those people that just doesn't know him. You know what I mean? He knows everybody but me. There's a few people like that with him. Or with me, like, you know, that everybody knows, like Torres, like everybody knows Torres. I don't know Torres. I'm
friends with him.
I've never talked to him.
I'm not friends with Urba though. Urba would look at me and be like, I don't know you. And I'd be like, I know.
Right. Yeah.
But I know who you are.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So
one of those things. But anyway, so it was all right. It was a nice time. You got to meet my girlfriend. So for a second. So
I did.
That was cool.
Pleasure was all hers.
Yeah. She always wanted to meet you because we do this show. You know, I talked to her. I'm like, I'm doing the show with Donnie. And then, she always is just like, gets a little bit confused about which Don I'm talking about. And I'm like, you'll probably never meet Cease. I'm like, not on purpose. Yeah. He just never comes out. He's like a freaking shrew or something.
It's a shame I didn't come earlier, because if she had any questions about the way to be dressed, and me coming out of the car in my like t-shirt and my shorts and putting my homeless jacket on, being like, hey, what's up?
But I read that thing about that bar, on that email that Ron sent out about the cook killed himself.
Like the day before.
Right. So we were having a dinner there, and the day before the dinner, one of the cooks that would have been, helping along with the dinner, like literally killed themselves. I don't know any details, anything like that. It's really sad. I think he has kids. It was just, so there was there was a pretty limited selection of food, due to that, of course. But they were thinking about not even having it. You know what I mean? Like they were going to not open the place or whatever because of this. But they decided to go ahead and go through with it. No, it was okay. The place was okay. I mean, like the food that we did have was good, and the drink prices weren't outrageous for what it was. I mean, it's not a dive bar. Like, it's not cheap, but it's not over the top either. You know what I mean? I didn't drink any wine. I'm just not a wine guy. We've been over this. If I go to dinner and somebody's like, do you want to get some wine? I'll be like, sure, I'll have wine because you want wine. I'll drink some wine, but it's not my thing. It's just not, And so, I just had a mixed drink and then whatever. But anyway, I know this is all boring for everybody listening, but just kind of telling you that, we had a Brian Baird sighting, kind of went out and did that kind of thing. So
that was the only reason I went. I was like, I saw Brian Baird post that he's going. I was like, so I'm definitely going, whether I see him for a second or not. I don't care.
It's a rarity.
I got my hug.
He's trying. He's on Weight Watchers now, so he's trying to diet. He didn't drink when he was there, which is good. Not that he's ever been a really big drinker, but he might have had a drink or two when he was there, but he did not. And he's fighting against his girlfriend buying candy all the time, basically, and trying not to eat that and sticking to his meal plan. I hope it works out for him, because his health isn't great. He's not doing anything, like he's not on his way out the door or anything, but he's just at that point where his cholesterol is high, his blood pressure's not good. And, if he wants to get the 65, 70, et cetera, he's got to get his shit together, and he's trying, but it's hard for my brother because he's got, as anybody that ever listened to the VGN and stuff goes, Brian is a bit of ADD. And it's hard for him to focus on things, but hopefully, he does this. He's got a CPAP machine now too, and that's probably reminding him of the fact that he probably wouldn't need it if he lost some weight, Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, it's a battle everybody goes through except you. And, trying to keep their weight down, et cetera. And, but yeah, Brian's just at that point right now where he's sort of dieting. So, whatever.
There was a point at one time where we were sitting there and Sherry, and Anita, and we're sitting there talking, and Sherry goes, just look at him. Look at Don. He looks amazing. And I'm sitting there. I'm like looking at her. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I look amazing. She's like, your skin. It's so, all those years of drinking's messed all these people up. All your friends are like all messed up from all this drinking and all this partying they do. She's like, but your skin looks so clear and clean, and you look at it, and I'm just sitting there looking at her like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't do anything. You know what I mean? I don't even wash my face. Like, I don't even like, I mean, like when I take a shower, I do, but other than that, it's not like I'm, I don't rub lotion on me, or I don't cream myself up or nothing. It's just like, you look amazing. It's like, okay.
You're right, just, in my opinion, I mean, you do look good, I guess, in that sense. But I mean, I think it's like, you really have that Scottish genes in you. I know other guys that are Scottish like you. They're thin. You've got that kind of a gaunt face. Not like you're that thin, but you know what I mean? Like it's just a Scottish thing that you've got, that's, it's a good genetic thing to have. Like, you'll, if you don't croak over something stupid, you'll probably live a long time too. I mean, look how long your mom's lasted. And your dad probably would have went a long time too had he not been, like what Sherry was saying, drinking, he probably would still be with us, So, I mean, granted, your lungs might give out. We all know. But otherwise, you're all right. I get what she's saying, but it's like I look around. I think I look better than a lot of people do, but most people, people age different, man. You know what I mean? Like I've got some age spots and that kind of thing hitting 50. It's normal, but, I got most of my hair still, a lot of other people, well, the majority of other people I know are pretty much bald at this point that are men.
That's me.
And, I don't know. It is what it is.
That's what I told her. I go, if I'm looking so good, then then what are you going to do about this? And took my hat off. I was like, how about that? How smooth is that skin?
That makes you look like your dad a lot,
Exactly.
I get that with myself. I look in the mirror sometimes and I'm like, I look too much like my dad. It's not that I don't love my dad and I don't care about my dad. Nor do I think my dad wasn't like maybe a handsome guy or something, but it's just one of those things where it's just like, I don't want to look that much like my father. You know what I mean? Like it's just, makes me feel weird. He's yelling at me or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got an email. Believe it or not. If you want to write into the show, write to oblast@vgn.us and we'll read it on the air. And this one, we haven't looked at this in a while. So first of all, this came in April. And he was commenting on the April 9th podcast. And it's from Ted. And Ted
you remember that one?
He says, Kevin, you hit on a great format in this show. First, you asked Don how he was doing. Great story on not feeling well. So I don't know what that was because you've had a few
April
stories.
9th. That's when I had that sickness.
Okay.
That was at the end of the sickness.
Oh, yes, right. The work sickness thing where you couldn't go to work. All right.
And then they were like, you got to sign up for this website and fucking log in.
Yes, right. And then 2, you always have your own stories on what you've been up to. Sorry to hear about lady friend breakup, but didn't sound like anything that was a big deal to you. Now, that one I'm a little confused on. I mean, I could have been talking about any of my lady friend breakups, but I've been dating my current girlfriend for a year and a half. So it's not her. I don't know, but yeah, it doesn't matter. Whatever we were talking about on 4-9, it wasn't somebody I was currently seeing, so it's okay. Or I might have been like, I'm breaking up with her, and then I didn't.
That's it. I'm done with this chick.
Yeah, it's over. But no. My current relationship is very difficult in the sense of she has a 10-year-old and a 30-year-old living with her that are her kids. And, I get along with the kids fine, I suppose, but she doesn't want me there when they're there. Like, if she takes the kids out, like she says, hey, we're going to go to this thing. Do you want to meet up? Right? With the youngest kid anyway. Sure. And I can be there with the kid or I can go to the mall with the kid. But what she doesn't want is, let's just say, not me, right? Let's just say a guy, right? In her place, occupying the kid's mom's time and having some dude there, that's how and on the other side of it, I'm sitting there going like, but that's normal. Like when you're in a relationship this long, that's what you do, and, we've had big fights about it to the point of almost breaking up. And I'm still not happy with it. Like cause I won't see her for sometimes a couple weeks, at a time, which is ridiculous because she lives 25 minutes down the road. But this is just, the situation, that we're in. But at the same time, I like the girl. Obviously I'm dating her. So it's kind of like, I'm trying to there's, this thing in my head that's like, she says, well, next year my kid will be old enough to take care of herself. So I'll be able to go out more and this kind of thing. But I don't know if that's really the issue. I mean, I don't know because it's sort of like if she wanted to make time for me, she would make time for me. She'd figure this out and this is just not how she's wired. And so I'm constantly sitting in my head going like, do I stick this out? And what am I gaining by sticking it out? You know what I mean? Like, where is this going? You know, and I'm not sure. So, and I haven't been sure for a year and a half. So Mr. Indecisive over here doesn't know what he's doing, but I'm trying. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to make it work, but it's very difficult. Anyway.
Real hard, Ringo.
Yeah. Let's see. Number 3, you included Kevin's explanation of some topic nobody knows or thinks about. This is always pure gold, but I could be the only one who thinks that. Well, thanks. That's kind of always been like my focus on the show, is to just give people perspective on a topic. Like, I'm not trying to convince you that the way I'm thinking
one way or the other.
Right. Or, you know, this way or that way. Now, sure, we have opinions about things. We talk about some things we think that people do are dumb. And maybe some people do those things and get mad about it. But I'm not trying to convince you of that. Like, if that's what you want to do, fine. Like, that's cool. Like, you know, I have all kinds of people that I hang out with that do idiotic shit, and I still hang out with them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not above anything. I don't judge people. Right. It is what it is with us, with Don and I. Like, whatever, you know, we have had these friends of ours for decades, and we don't always want to hang out with them, but then we go and do it anyway. You know?
we do it anyways with the hopes that one of us is there so that we can at least sit with each other and make fun of everybody.
Right. But when I talk about these topics, I'm just trying to offer up perspective, and especially when, like, I don't know why I have these kind of I don't know, more deep dives into a different sort of topic thing that I do sometimes to let people think about it in a different way. But that's just always been sort of the point of the show, is just to kind of give you guys something to make your wheels spin, do some research, think about it. So when you're talking to your friends, wherever you are out there in the world, you know what I mean? Then you can come at them and be like, yeah, but what about this? And then they'll be like, geez, I never thought about that, you know? And, you know, and you can debate it and talk about it with them and all that kind of stuff. So, you know,
tell them Kevin Baird sent you.
I mean, yeah.
People will be like, where'd you hear that from? You could be like, Kevin Baird. And they'd be like, who?
Yeah. Or maybe somebody will know. I know that guy. He's running video games.
Yeah, right.
Thanks.
But that's the way news should be. That's how like the newscasts and the news channels should be, because everybody's so like they're either left wing, right wing, whatever, conservative, liberal. They're so into reporting what they want you to hear, as opposed to like back in the day with like Tom Brokaw and like the original 60 Minutes and stuff, where they're like, this is the news. We don't care whether you like it or not. Right. You know what I mean? We just want to give you the information so you can make your own educated decision about what you want to do.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's what, I mean, it's like, and not that we're a news source. I'm not telling anybody that. I'm not saying.
I mean, there was always opinion pieces in the paper. There was like, but it would always say that it would be like the editorial or the opinion piece or something.
Yeah.
But most of the rest of the news is pretty dry. It was always the who, what, where, when, why. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And or how. And you used to try to keep but there's always a little bias in everything. I'm not saying there's not. There always is, and especially, you know, when people are leaning one way or the other in politics. But these days, things have gotten crazy. But we won't get into that.
Yeah.
Number 4, you returned to asking Don for more input, and he had more to say. This was unexpected.
I did.
See that, Don? They like you when you have some input.
Hey, listen, he says it's unexpected. I just went, what? I said more? I didn't expect that.
As a 60-year-old who's dealt with glasses contacts since he was 12, epilepsy since he was 13, and high blood pressure since mid-40s, you start to wonder why you get the health you do. Thanks, Ted. Appreciate it. Yeah, anybody wants to write in oblast@vgn.us, we'll read it at some point when I run across it in the email. Since we don't get email very often, I don't check it that often.
Yeah, send in an email. The turnaround's about a year. Somewhere within there. There
you go. Not that long. Couple months. So, you know, I'll check it more often, but if it's just empty all the time, I'll forget about it. And that's just how it goes.
Right.
So,
thanks, Ted.
Thanks. Yeah. And I had a couple of small
backhanded compliment, I guess. No,
we talked. So, you know, we talked about wine before, so I'm not really going to talk about that topic. Because wine tastings.
So just throwing this one out there at that wine party or whatever at Rob's 50th. They were sitting at the table, and Sherry was down there, and she said something. She's like, She goes, I don't, you know what? You could pour Pepsi into a cup, pour it out and put Coke in a cup, and I wouldn't know the difference between any of it. And that's when I yelled in. And you see, that's why you got me around. I said, you know all the difference between the wines and stuff. I said, sure, you know your oakiness and your flavors and your fragrances. I said, but I tell you what, put a Coke, a Pepsi, and an RC in front of me, I'm going to tell you which one's which.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I do. I go, that's what I bring to the table.
I could definitely distinguish them, and I haven't drank the sugar versions of these things in a long time, so I could tell you they're different, but I could probably pick out Coke, because there's just something about it. Like, hard. Yeah, I could pick that out, but if you put RC and Pepsi in front of me, I might struggle a little bit on that one. But
I could do it. Yeah. Cherokee Red.
Oh, yeah.
Orange Crush, Grape Crush. I know it all.
Yeah. So, yeah. It's been a long time.
We don't need to talk about wine.
So one topic I kind of want to talk about today, and I don't have anything insightful for it, but I just kind of wanted to bounce it off of you a little bit, is so my brother, and this isn't the main part of the topic, but it gets into it. So my brother bought a gun, right? Uh-oh. He bought another handgun. I don't know what it is. It kind of looks like a Glock, but it's not a Glock. It's just like a 9mm handgun, semi-automatic, etc. Now, my brother had a Ruger before, about 15 years ago or something, and I bought it off of him back when I got my carry permit and everything. And because partially he didn't want it anymore, and also like he was using the bullets like as almost like as paperweights and things like that around his house. And I'm thinking, he's got a kid in his house. Sometimes the other girls are in there. Who knows if their dumbass boyfriends might come over. None of them are dumb now. But back then, right? Yeah. Might come over, find this thing. You know what I mean? So it made sense to me. Let's just get it out. I'll take it. It's not a great gun, by the way. It's totally inaccurate as hell, that Ruger. I got it professionally cleaned and everything, but it sucks. But anyway, I have it. It's fine. And he hasn't had anything for it. So then he bought another one and recently. And I don't care, first of all. I don't care that he has it at this point. Like, his kid is 21, that he still lives with him. And he even said that Jody, his girlfriend, might buy a shotgun or something. And I just, I told him, I said, hey, man, you want to go shooting with it? You got to, I'll go with you, but you got to come out here by me. I'm not going to go all the way out to East Lake to shoot your gun. You know what I mean? And he's like, well, then I'll have to buy ammunition for it, which kind of cracks me up because he bought a gun and doesn't have any ammo for it. But he said maybe he'll do that, come out and shoot with me. But, I've talked to a lot of people, in recent years, I would say within the last 10 years and more so probably in the last 5 or 6, who, not just guns, but like seem to be prepping for like the apocalypse or something. Like Bailey, right? He has like a food storage thing, right? For survival. And of course, I'm sure, he's got guns. And then I have these friends who were talking about putting in serious friends who own like a house and a nice piece of property over out here by me. We're talking about putting in a shipping container into their underground in their yard in order to use as a shelter for them and their kids. And, this type of thing goes on. And I think a lot of people that buy guns are either, not saying everybody, but I'm saying a lot of people that buy guns are expecting some sort of a home invasion to happen to them, right?
Right.
And a violent home invasion at that.
A purge.
Now, I would say, I don't even have to look at the statistics, but I would say that the vast majority of home invasions are when people are not home, right? This is because home invasions are burglaries. And somebody's coming into your home and stealing stuff, and they're not going to want to do it when you're there, right? I mean, if I was a crook, I would wait for you to leave.
Yeah, right. I would want the house to be empty.
Not trying to have a scuffle with you and mess with you or anything. So, and I would think that uniquely by any means, but I think that the majority of these sorts of things happen in bad neighborhoods. Okay. So, when you, are in a good neighborhood, the odds of, a home invasion are very low, very, very low. And the odds of a violent one happening are extremely low. Now, listen, I bought a gun because I saw the video during the Iraq war of that guy getting his head cut off with the Ginsu knife or whatever the fuck that was.
Right.
And what bothered me about that wasn't the fact that that guy got killed, although that was sad. What bothered me about it was the fact that I didn't want to have anybody have power over me like that. Like those guys had guns. That guy, what could he do? He's not going to punch one of them. You know what I mean? Like when they first find him in his truck, you know what I mean? They're pointing guns at him. Like he's going to have to just give himself up. And you can find yourself in that situation potentially anywhere, right? And so my thought process is look, I'm not going to try and rely on the police to show up. I call those guys on the phone when somebody's coming in to injure me or harm me. They're going to take like 10, 15 minutes. I'm dead at that point, right? Somebody's running off with the Xbox and I'm dead. And so that's always been my thought process on it. So I don't take away from the fact that home defense is a bad idea. I think it's actually probably a pretty good idea. So you're not playing the odds on your own safety. But I talk to these people and they seem like they're just expecting it. Like they're just thinking it's coming. Right. And that's the part where I'm just like, man, like you're not, like I did the whole concealed carry training that you had to do in Ohio. You don't have to do it anymore unless you want reciprocity with other states. You have to do training for a couple of days. You go to class and then you have to shoot like a pie plate on a thing to make sure you can shoot straight.
Right.
And, so I did all this training and everything, and they kind of go over all this stuff, and they tell you, if you're going to draw your gun, you're not winging somebody, you're not shooting them in the kneecap. You shoot to kill. You got to be afraid for your life, right? So you're going to pull your gun, you're going to shoot, and you're going to kill the person that's coming at you, right? And that's a tall order if you're not somebody that wants to kill somebody. Like I don't want to kill people. Right.
No,
right? I would rather negotiate with somebody and be like, are you really that mad? You know what I mean? Like, do we really got to do this? Like, do you really want me? And I'd rather pull the gun out and just kind of point it at him and be like, look, I have a gun. I can shoot you. Why don't you chill out? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you're not supposed to. I mean, you have to pull it and shoot and kill somebody. And you can't brandish a firearm either. You can't just do what I just said. You can't show it on your belt like they do in TV and stuff like that. Like, look at here. Now, people do that, right? I'm not saying, but if the police come, brandishing a firearm is illegal. So, basically, your concealed gun is one of those things. Well, I should point out, you don't actually have to have a concealed gun. You can wear one in the Westerns, you can have one on your belt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cops might look at you a little weird, as will most people. Like, what's up with this guy? But it's totally legal in Ohio. Like that has been legal in Ohio for forever, basically. You can have a gun on your hip, or wherever, as long as it's in plain sight, it's totally illegal. The minute you were to conceal it, then it wasn't. But they recently changed that now. And now anybody, no license needed, can walk around with a gun. Pain in the ass, though. I mean, a gun is like a big, heavy chunk of metal. And I've tried all kinds of different holsters. Like I've tried the behind the back one. Good luck sitting down, in a chair when it's in the square of your back. That sucks. The side ones, gets all like banged up on your seatbelt and things like that when you're trying to drive. It gets hooked on things when you're walking. So then you get that crazy thing you see like under the jacket where it's like almost like a bra. It's like suspenders or something. It's like
the old 70s detective one.
Yeah, and you got the side thing, but then it's just kind of pinching your back and it's under. They all suck. They all are terrible. The only ones that are good are the ones like cops have that are on the outside. You know what I mean? Because then it's like it's available for you to grab really quick if you are in a firefight, and it's not freaking stupid uncomfortable. But anyway, that's just my opinion. Somebody might be like, I find guns very comfortable. I sleep with my gun. That's fine. I don't know. Go ahead.
There was this dude that came to pick up furniture at the store, and he bent over to pick up this couch or whatever, put in his truck, and he had a gun in his waistband and in his back, on his back.
Yeah.
So it's not in a holster. It's not on a strap. It's just sitting in there.
Yeah.
Right. Which is probably illegal or whatever.
No, it's illegal. You can do that. You don't have to have a holster. No law.
Okay. So it could be whatever, and it's like, and I'm looking at it and I go, like, how much trouble did that guy think I was going to give him?
Right.
You know, I mean, like, why do you need a gun to come to and then I get it. People are going to say, you never know. Shit happens at stores, at malls. I mean, it just happened at Giant Eagle over here.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's like somebody so most shootings, the vast majority are somebody, right? Somebody that's like the random guy that's going to kill you is so minute, outside of a war situation, that, it's almost like statistically impossible. Like you'd have to go looking for it, like really hard. Yeah. Like, please shoot me, they'd be like, no, man, no, I don't know you.
Oh, stranger.
It's usually, some sort of lover's quarrel. A lot of times it's that, money, it's issues over money, and stuff. But, everybody watches the news and then they see like a guy get shot because his car, gets stolen or something. And that might happen once a year in a population of like 20 million or something. But people remember it, and they think like that happens all the time. I remember that, you know what I mean? And they can name off a few different things like that. And you put them all together and they think it's like a rampant thing. Now, listen, we used to do that show, What's Happening in Cleveland or whatever. And
I saw her name today.
We talk about the East Side. Cleveland's East Side, and there are shootings over there all the time. So if I was living over there, I'd probably be armed up,
and I would not be stepping out of the house,
right? Because it'd be like that place is it's that they need to do something serious about that. But we've been over that. But my brother, like no one's. What are they like? Why would somebody want to kick in my brothers? What are they going to take from them? They're right. Fucking. Flat screen? I mean, it's incredible. Go ahead.
If your brother gets robbed, it's obviously random, and those people are going to walk in there and go, you know what? I think we need to turn around and walk out. Like they would just probably look around and see a bunch of skulls or like those little miniatures that he's always painting and stuff. Right. Like, is that an orc battle scene over there on the table?
They might
be
yes. Into it. I mean, Brian might be like, you guys want to party? You know what I mean? And be like, yeah, man. So, he's partying with a bunch of fucking thieves. Wouldn't be unusual. It'd be like, yeah, it's just normal. But like one time, like I walked into the wrong house. Like, there was two houses that looked identical. Don C's told me this was the house. I went in first, and then he realized as I walked in, it was the wrong house. So he walked away, but I walked into this person's house. And some big guy came out and he's like, who are you? And I'm like, whoa, I'm in the wrong house. And he's like, what's in that bag? And it had videotapes in it. I'm like, videotapes, I'm leaving. Today, I might be dead. I might be dead because people are so paranoid and freaked out, man. They're not going to ask, who are you? They're just going to blast you because you walked into their house. And I think that's like, people got to like, man, have some common sense. Like, think about what you're doing. Like, look for the danger first before. I know there's castle laws. You enter my house, I can shoot you dead. But I mean, really, do you really want to kill people that bad? Like, that's fucking crazy to me.
I think that's the mentality. I mean, okay, you turn around and somebody's in your house. Okay, so immediately you're freaked out, right?
Yeah,
you're shocked
for sure.
You're taken aback.
Yes,
right,
absolutely.
And you're just like, oh, what the hell? What are you doing here, right?
Yeah.
So the first thing in your head is invader. You know what I mean? You're not even thinking. You're just like, there's an invader in my house, and I have the right to protect myself. That's all they think about. They don't know.
But I think
the nuances and the intricacies of the laws and all that stuff. They are just thinking, intruder, I can shoot him.
Like one guy I read in the news, accidentally shot, and I think he killed his daughter because she was sneaking out. She came in at night. It was dark. Bam, bam, dead. Cops still looking into it though. Suspicious, that kind of thing.
Sure.
But and that's the thing too. Like if I heard somebody in my house, honestly, the first thing I would think of is which one of you guys is fucking around. You know what I mean? Like which one of my friends has entered my house? Or the second thing I would probably think of is like, is it the police or is it somebody that like a handyman or somebody that's entered my house unexpectedly? Now, obviously, if it's in the middle of the night, maybe not, but still, I'm going to ask some fucking questions first. You know what I mean? I'm going to yell down, hey, who the fuck's in my house? You know what I mean? And I'll have my gun and everything. And if they don't respond, I'm going to call 911 and, et cetera. You know, I mean, it's just one of these things. But I just find that people are just like, they're fantasizing about scenarios that like, I don't share with them, I suppose.
Yeah.
And the, like, first of all, listen, the post-apocalyptic thing, whatever the apocalypse is, whether, the population gets wiped out by disease or war or whatever it is, you're not surviving it. Like, you're not. Like, there's all kinds of reasons why you're not going to make it. But, like, if our society breaks down, you're not going to grow food and live off the land and, have like water filters and strain the air is going to kill you. The air is going to kill you because we have certain chemical and radioactive plants and things like that are going to, without human beings, rupture, blow up, and contaminate all of our air. We're all going to die. Like you're doomed. So like, just give that dream up. If it's a dream, but it's a horrible dream. Like anyway, like what do you really think you're going to like live off a lot? If you really want to be Amish, man, or you know what I mean, you can go do that now. You know what I mean? You can go buy a piece of land in some southern state, maybe even Ohio, maybe in southern Ohio. Get yourself your nice big piece of property and with your trees and stuff and your stream and just live off the land if that's what you want to do. But I'm telling you, you're going to have a miserable time. It's going to suck.
Radioactive deer.
Yeah, I mean, you could farm. I mean, people do that. Like, they're pretty much self-established. I don't know how many
radioactive soil
do it without electricity, but I guess maybe the Amish do. Although even the Amish have like they still go to hospitals like around here.
Candles.
They actually use gas for a certain machinery that they have, so they're not doing everything by hand. They have bottled gas for a lot of that stuff, and so there's a lot of aspects of their life that are not as cut off as you think. Their whole ideal is the fact that they just don't want to be connected to our society. They don't want, phones and internet. They don't want to be wired up to the grid. They don't want to be connected to all of that. So electricity is not allowed. They don't want to hear radio. They don't want TV. They don't want to have any of these distractions. But at the same time, if you were just like, hey, you got this tractor here, you can run this tractor on, gas, that you have and own, then they're like, okay. And that's what they do, right? They're not all out there with a fucking donkey, plowing a giant field with one of them old plows and stuff like that. I mean, maybe some of them are somewhere, but the Pennsylvania Dutch aren't doing that shit. So, it's that thing. They have ovens and things. I mean, they're not always like throwing wood. But they don't have plumbing and stuff. They don't have septic. I don't know what they do. Do they have septic? I have no idea. They got a shit.
No.
Right? But was it a shit just go out into a fucking pile somewhere in a hole in the ground? I don't know about
it's
that.
It's like a hole in the ground and they build the outhouse over it.
I don't know. Maybe. But
I have no idea.
But my point is, like, does anybody really want to live like this? Like, no. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, and the idea that the revolution's going to start, and we've talked about this before, and that these people are going to join in or be part of it. Like, man, like, the military has weaponry that's just going to, the average citizen doesn't have a fucking chance. Like, whatever you're armed up with, you think you're going to be out in the woods, fucking eating granola bars and shit, sniping at people. Like, man, they're going to drop napalm on your ass and you're going to be fried in like 5 seconds. It's going to be horrible. Like, that's what, no one's going to do it.
It's like when they were doing that Occupy Area 51 or whatever, when they had that. Is that the one? Did I say that right? Area 51?
Well, no, that's when they were all going to go over to the Area 51 in a big group.
They're like, what are they going to do? Stop us all? And it's kind of like, well, they could.
Yeah, right.
They just need one airplane to do that. They don't need a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as soon as the killing starts, a lot of people are going to be like, no, I don't know. I'm going to comply.
Right.
I'm going to get out of this kind of thing. Like, when they used to talk about the Jews during World War II, and they used to say, like, why didn't you guys, like, fight back against the Nazis? And they would say, like, it's hard to be brave in front of a machine gun. And it's like, because, they're just going to mow you down, man. Like,
right.
And don't get me wrong. I realize that there's some guys out there that are Green Beret, they're the Rambo types. There's a few of you guys out there. I get it. You might survive for a while until you get tetanus and die. But the average people I'm talking about, they're not going to make it. So it's like this weird fantasy in their head. Like they're just, and the funny thing is to me is that people are worried a lot about other people taking their possessions. And it's like most people's possessions are the same garbage that everybody else has. Like most of the things that everybody owns are the same things that everybody else owns. So it's like, you might have a rare Rolling Stones record or a signed autograph from somebody on a T-shirt or whatever. But every other thing that you own, your computer, your Xbox, your flat screen, your couch, your cooking tools and shit, nobody wants any of that crap because it's everywhere. You know what I mean? Like it's just everywhere. Everybody has it. It's nothing we own is like unique or that unique that anybody is going to like want to like take any of it or anything like that. So it's like, to the point of wanting to kill for it is what I'm trying to say. Right. Yes. If you leave your house unlocked and some crack guy that needs money is going to come by and be like, I'm taking this dude's Xbox, Yeah. Right. Okay. But no one's going to come in your house and want to battle you for it. I mean, it's just crazy. It's not, it's not going to happen. So, I mean, I don't know. Again, if you're in a bad neighborhood and stuff, but if you look at the actual statistics of these things, you will find that it's so minute of a chance of you having some kind of a altercation of this kind. I'm not saying you should be disarmed, but what I'm saying is that don't fantasize so much about it because it's not really going to happen. Karate. It's like, right? People that take karate, they go to karate lessons. They take karate for the, or whatever, jiu-jitsu or, just whichever,
discipline,
whatever discipline you're learning, right? And you become this master guy and everything. And most of the guys that end up getting pretty good at karate, they're just waiting for somebody to start that fight with them, to be that guy and like the Karate Kid that just is like, come on, man, and so you can like use your moves and knock that guy out. And I'll tell you what, man, it doesn't like how you go down the street. How many guys are doing karate on each other, right? Like it's not happening. It's not happening. Like you're never going to utilize any of that shit. I mean, you're going to maybe there's that one opportunity at a bar or something when the guy's, messing with the ladies. I can, okay. I mean, maybe, but then the other guy that's next to him is going to like take a bottle and just crash in India, and you're going to be out cold on the ground. Like it's, people just fantasize. They just get all into it and think about things. And I just think, man, the money that's spent and the time and the effort and everything, it's like people could just be nicer to each other or something. I think like, look, if we ever ended up in a bad situation. That's like when the country goes in the toilet, the economy's fucked up. We're in kind of a war type of thing, that sort of stuff. Like, I don't want to be holed up by myself in my house. I'm going to try and talk to my neighbors and be like, hey, what are you guys thinking? What are we going to do? Like, let's get together and kind of figure this out. Almost like that show Jericho, which was kind of a show, but like the town kind of got together and said like, hey, I got farm over here. We got this stuff, I got some salt at the salt mine. We can do this guy. Like, I think that's what you need to do. I mean, I think you need to be social and talk to people. And yeah, you need to have some security from, in case there's some bad guys and stuff. But I think like a lot more could be done if people were friendly with each other, or at least trying to be, nice to each other, rather than
jerks.
Yeah, expecting everybody to arm up and prepare to have a gun battle and stuff, because I mean, if it ever turns into some road warrior type shit, that whole gang of crazy fuckers with the football pads and the helm spikes and shit are all going to go, there's going to be 100 of them. And what, are you going to shoot them all? No, they're going to totally kill you, rape your woman, and eat your cream corn can that you got on the shelf. You're fucked.
Last one.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my thing. I don't know. That just kind of gets me about a lot of this.
What's funny about that, like the doomsday prepper people are like, they're like, I got all this food and I got all this guns and ammunition and I'm ready to go. And it's like you said, it's like the whole planet's poisoned. Like right. there's nothing you can do outside of there. And it's like, and did you really bring like any medical stuff, or did you bring like any books? Did you bring anything that would, like, tools? Did you bring any, you know what I mean? Stuff you could, hey, did you bring a saw so we could build stuff when we get out of here? Oh no, I just brought guns. I just had food. Guns, like,
yeah. Like, it's
come on.
We're all paying attention, and we're poisoning the earth really well right now. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, once we're like not here, and all those nuclear power plants and some of those experimental reactors go, and all that radiation is pumping up into the atmosphere, you're fucking done, man. You're done. And the diseases and things that that can move and spread, like, fucking forget it, man. Like, just no. I don't want to be around anyway. I don't want to. What are we gonna do? Like there's no more video games and shit. Like, what are we doing? Oh, you get solar panels and you can build some. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Just I can't go to Burger King anymore. Then that's it. I'm out.
But that's the thing. People would be like, you could just get solar panels and hook them up. It's like, I couldn't do that when everything was normal. Like, how am I supposed to do that now? Like, I don't know how that shit works.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I guess you could find somebody else's house that already has them, and then maybe you could use them for a while, but that's only going to get you. So, I mean, 10 years.
Then you got to kill them.
Yeah, or they're dead. But I mean, their stinking bodies are there. You got to get rid of them, bury them, fight the dog. I don't know. I mean, there's so many, there's just the whole scene just sucks. It just sucks. And then people are like looking forward to it or something. It's crazy. And I just think that, the like those people, when those people were marching, and that guy and his wife were sitting in front of their lawn, he was holding like a fucking machine gun or something, or an assault rifle, and she had like a handgun, and they're like, keep walking or whatever. And it's like, did you think they were coming? Like, they weren't coming into your house. They weren't going into anybody's house. Like,
I just want to let them know not to mess with us.
Don't fuck up my gardenias in my yard and stuff. It's like, you don't gotta just, just human kindness, man. You could have probably, I'm not saying don't be armed, don't be there, don't be like, hey, would you guys mind just not messing with my property and stuff? And if they, are fucking around, bang, I get it. But it's just the extremity of it all. It's just so ridiculous. It's on every side of it, though. Everybody's lost their fucking mind. I don't know. Go ahead.
No, I was throwing in a little anecdote here. I was going to say how you were talking about how, like, if there's going to be a home assault, most people they don't want to do it while you're home. Right. They want to wait till you're away. And I thought that was funny because I was playing Red Dead Redemption yesterday, Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah. Finally. Yeah. And the guy looks at me and he goes, we got to get into that house. So go in there and sneak around, but don't wake anybody up. And I just looked, I'm looking at the TV like, I don't want to go in there if there's people in there. Right. Like, why am I doing this? Like, no, I don't want to do this. Right. He's like, get in the house. I was like,
a sneaking mission. Right. Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because that's immediately what I thought of, is like, I'm sneaking around going, I'm going to hit a floorboard, or I'm going to hit, I'm going to knock a candle over. So this is dumb. I was like, I don't know why I'm doing this.
And most people that own guns end up like getting hurt by their own gun. Right. And so it's like, and it may not be you that do it. You might be really good at cleaning your gun and taking care of it and everything. Somebody else is going to pick your gun up and shoot you with it. A lot of that happens. And, kids are often the ones picking up guns and killing people because parents don't put the guns where they're supposed to go. And again, I'm not anti-gun. We've been over this. But I'm just saying, like, know why you have it, I guess. Know what you're doing with it. Like, have it for the right reasons. Pay attention to what you're doing and be realistic about it. You're probably never going to use the damn thing on anybody. And, think about the fact that like you would have to pull it out and shoot somebody, not, just the ideal crazy maniac that you're imagining in your head that might run into your house one day just to stab you with a dull knife. But, it could be any kind of a situation, that your family's endangered and you've got to use it. But are you really going to just do like that one guy did and shoot his daughter, in the dark? Or are you going to be like, hey, who are you? You know what I mean? Like, because the other person's probably not going to open fire at you. How often does that fucking happen? You know what I mean? There's somebody in my house. I asked him who it was and he immediately opened fire on me. I mean, it just doesn't, you know what I mean? That person would be like, oh, fuck, there's somebody here. You know what I mean? If it was a burglar and shit and they'd be trying to go back out the way they came because they know you're probably armed and you're going to shoot their ass. It's just crazy, man. Now listen, there's some of you out there, there's probably somebody who doesn't like you and they are going to try and kill you. I mean, that's statistically, somebody's going to get murdered for some reason.
It's going to happen.
But I'm saying like most of you, it's not. So, think about, but I don't know. I safety is important. I just find the post-apocalyptic thing, like my brother buying a gun, I'm just looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, like, he's never going to be in a situation where he's going to need to use that thing. Right now it's his total right and option to have it, in case he does. And if it makes him feel better, because, I have mine, near my nightstand. If he has his near, his and that, fine. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just pointing out the fact that no one's going to break into that dude's house and try and take his shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would they do that? Like, there's nothing there.
He's not taking it with him on the road, huh? He can't probably take it out of the state.
No, he'd have to take classes in order to do that. And he'd have to have reciprocity with Pennsylvania or Michigan, depending on which state he goes to.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. It's like, he could have it. Why wouldn't he have it as a trucker? That makes sense.
I guess, but I mean, come on. Like, how often is that? He's going to like hardware stores. Like, what is he running into there? You know what I mean?
But that's the thing. You never know. You never know, dude. It's weird. It's crazy out there.
That's the problem. The you never know is the problem because but you look around. How often are you seeing anything happen? Listen, we've grown up with like 30 friends of ours. How many of them do you know that have been shot or stabbed or murdered? None of them. And these guys are in bad shit all the time, and none of them, right?
Well,
I mean, you can find some edge case, I guess, of somebody we know or something, but like, associated to the people, I mean, that we went to school with, you don't even hear about these kinds of things. Like
because
it's just right. When you're in a decent neighborhood, it doesn't happen. If you're out in East Cleveland, totally different story. If my brother was driving into East Cleveland and dropped shit, oh yeah, arm up, man. Fuck, I don't know what's going on over there. It's crazy over there.
Right.
But if you're in a decent neighborhood, I mean, there's just nothing. It says nothing happen. Plus, the other thing too, like the people that do get preyed upon and get killed and stuff like that are old people, right? Because they think they can overpower them, or women, rape and all that kind of thing. But generally men, like, no, and in fact, most burglaries, cops will tell you this too, happen at houses that don't have dogs, because they don't even want to mess with the dog, because the dog is a problem, and so if you have a dog, it's actually a really good form of deterrence from a home invasion or that kind of thing. So, and you would think, just shoot the dog. You know what I mean? But I mean, if you were in the suburbs and you had a gun and you had pop and shot the dog, people are going to hear that shit. People are going to call the cops. They hear the glass break around here, man. Where I live, forget it. And there would be like 100 cops here in like 5 minutes because there's nothing going on in my town. They got nothing else to do but find you and bust your ass. But anyway, I don't know. I know I sound mixed on this, and I have a gun. I have it on my nightstand. I understand it and everything. I think being safe is good. All I'm trying to say is just check your expectations, because you're probably never going to run into what you're thinking. It's just like the karate guy is never going to whip his karate out on somebody. You're never going to pull that gun on somebody. And yes, there's going to be that one edge case. Somebody's going to write in and see like, well, I actually had to pull my gun when I was delivering mail, and I had to shoot a guy because he was coming at me. Okay. All right. But again, it's going to be like one dude out of like thousands and thousands of people. And it's just,
Well, we already got one dude who fended off a Steak and Shake robbery.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Right. Although I don't think he did it with a gun, right?
No, he didn't do it with a gun, but he used Kung Fu. I don't know what he did.
He just told the guy to leave. He was like, just get out.
Like slapped him, like, slap, get out of here, you stupid. The guy was like, all right, I'm sorry. Like, I'll leave.
There's too much, I don't know.
Too many people here.
It's just, I just want people to think more about being kind to each other and just being nice to each other. That's not going to happen. But it could,
You wish it would, but it's not, because people are too stupid, greedy, and selfish. And they don't give a shit about anybody or anything else. They only care about themselves. And it's fucking stupid, because it doesn't get you anywhere and it doesn't help you anywhere, because guess what? We all die the same.
I agree. Although I think that, if the message was spread a little bit more for people to care about each other, I think that people would think about it more and maybe try to be nicer to each other. It's.
Do you remember the 60s?
Well, that was like the hippie movement, but I think back in the sense of like.
It's been 60 years.
There was like a lot of effort to kind of get people to get together and have community things and stuff like that back in the day, and some places still do block parties and things like that, and get to know your neighbor and all those sorts of things. But I also think that in recent years we've gotten to a point of a lot of paranoia, and like, it's just like Halloween, like that was always like a good bellwether. There's just like, neighbors will come and say hi to each other. And it was a way of saying hi to your neighbors and their kids and everything like that. But then everybody gets all paranoid that your kid's going to get snatched by the one guy in the brown house on the corner or something. And you're just like, I don't know.
He doesn't, that guy in the corner, he doesn't have a girlfriend, and you never see anybody going in and out of there other than him.
Yeah.
So it's a little creepy.
What is he doing in there? And he's
what's in your basement, fool?
Got that van with the curtains on it. I don't know.
Exactly. Bobby had one of those. I always try that.
Creepy ass guy. All right. Well, we're over anyway. I hope I didn't piss anybody off, but it's just not trying to have it a pro or con on anything. I just think it's a little bit silly sometimes in my head about the apocalyptic prepping.
You want to buy a gun? You want to buy all the guns? Like my brother's buddy came over today. Like my oldest brother, Al, he came over with his friend from Tennessee to see my mom. And he shows me this picture of a guitar. He goes, look what I bought. And I was like, that's awesome. He goes, yeah, that's number 21. And I go, 21? He goes, yeah. And I can't even play them. And I'm like, what? Because he can play a little bit, but he's just learning now, but he's like 60 something, And he's just like, yeah. He's like, I got 21 guitars and I can barely play one of them. And I'm just looking at him like, why? Like what? But hey, if that's what makes him happy,
right,
go right ahead. Yeah, so it's like, if you want to go buy guns and buy all the bullets you want, and you think that's going to help, go ahead, have fun, knock yourself out.
Just be safe with is what I'm trying to say, though. Do that. And I know you all think you're responsible and everything, but just think about, like, is your gun locked? Can a kid get at it? Can you get at it reasonably well? Would you actually use it in the proper way? Or would you be like, who's in my house? Like we were talking about, like, have some common sense if you're going to use the damn thing on somebody, because, I don't know, maybe back in the day, people used to play pranks on each other. You know what I mean? Like, used to go up and put the little washer on the window and tap on the window. Be afraid to fucking do that shit these days. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't even look at the window. I would close my eyes, man. Start crying.
Somebody will just fucking shoot you dead because they're paranoid over some stupid shit. It's crazy. Anyway, we're long. So thanks, everybody. We'll be back next week with more of the show. Whoa. Thanks for listening, and see you. Peace. You've been listening to Oblast with Don and Kevin. If you'd like to write into the show, send an email to oblast@vgn.us. That is VGN as in video game news. And be sure to check out our Patreon page, which is at patreon.com/VGN, where you can get all of our shows, our videos, and some musings. Be sure to tune in each week for new episodes on our Patreon page, or every other week on the public RSS feed that you're subscribed to now. Thanks for listening, and good night.
Peace.